안녕하세요. Princeton Connect입니다. Congratulations for getting through your AP exams. Today, we'll be presenting the Korean culture. The topics that will be covered in our video are food, daily life, K-pop, attractions, and cosmetics. 먼저 몇 가지 한국 전통 음식에 대해서 알아보겠습니다.
Street food and fast food is among one of the most popular, common, and just delicious things Koreans like to enjoy. And many may say that it's unhealthy and not clean, which isn't necessarily false. But when you think about the chips and sodas we like to have, it really isn't much different. Many Koreans also like to order these types of foods to their workplace since it's convenient and cheap. We have here a list of some of the most popular and most representative of foods of the Korean culture, and that includes the live octopus. You may be thinking, isn't this dangerous to eat? And yes, it definitely takes courage and technique to eat these living creatures, but most restaurants would serve these in small portions, like small chopped portions of the octopus leg to make it more convenient to consume. And these are often served with sesame oil, so you really get that freshness from the octopus. Then we have tteokbokki, and it's rice cake that Koreans like to serve in a red sauce called gochujang. Sorry for my bad pronunciation, but it's spicy and sweet and very delicious. It's often served with ramen or cooked with chicken or other vegetables. And again, this is something common that Koreans like to eat at work as a meal. Now we have horigamja as shown in the picture on the very left at the bottom. And it's basically like this potato in tornado shape. It's sometimes also served with a hot dog in the middle, as you can see. And then KFC, which Koreans refer to as Korean fried chicken and not Kentucky fried chicken. And it's usually glazed in a special type of sauce that makes it uniquely crispy. And then we have ramen, which is very, very popular. They are instant noodles like the ones we have in American supermarkets. If you didn't know, they are pretty much fried and air-dried noodles that comes in packages. But Koreans make it extra fancy by adding toppings like tteokbokki, cabbage, cheese, and etc. These toppings add a lot of flavor and texture to the ramen, which makes a delicious and cheap meal for Koreans. Last thing we have on the list are gamja hot dogs, which are fried corn dogs coated with French fries, and they are very easy to find on the streets of Korea and very delicious. All of these foods can be found on the streets and in some fast food restaurants, and it is at night markets where they make the most business.
So the next dish we're going to introduce is bulgogi, which means fire meat in English. It is a thin marinated slices of beef or pork grilled on a barbecue, and it is believed to have originated during the Goguryeo era, which is around 37 BCE to 668 CE, and during the Joseon dynasty, it was only ate by the wealthy.
An outstanding aspect of the South Korean kitchen is the huge amount of side dishes which are served during a meal. One of the most famous side dishes in South Korea is kimchi. Kimchi is served with almost every traditional meal in South Korea. It's made from salted fermented vegetables such as napa cabbage and Korean radish. Its special taste comes from its unique seasonings, including chili powder, garlic, ginger, red pepper, sugar, and salted seafood. There are hundreds of varieties of kimchi made with different vegetables and seasonings. I put some examples on the slide. The origin of kimchi dates back at least to the early period of the Three Kingdoms. When the Koreans first started using agriculture, they had huge problems with the weather in Korea because the winters were very, very cold. Asian Koreans have searched for a way to save vegetables even in the coldest day of winter. The most popular way to preserve food was using salt. As such, they made kimchi. The reason that kimchi is so popular is due to its health benefits. The superfood is linked with weight loss, healthy skin, and strong digestive health. It's an example of healthy fermentation in human culinary history, minimizing nutrient loss while maximizing the beneficial lactobacilli.
Hello, my name is Daniel Choi, and I'm here to talk about a little bit of lifestyle of Korean culture. And here we go. So basically, I divided up the lifestyle as three different genres. First is food, second is clothes, and third is house. And Korean's lifestyle has developed from the evolution, which from the such as greatest ancestors in a millennia years and like hundreds or 200 years ago. And for food, we call this Korean cuisine called Hansik. And Hansik is the only place that provide dishes and rice together. When you go to like a Hong Kong or America, it's quite different because they only provide with one dishes, one or two dishes. If you order just like a set or just one food. However, Korean gives more than like a 10 little side dishes with the rice, so you can really enjoy the taste of Korean food. And second, there's a cloth we call that hanbok, and it's a Korean traditional cloth. And we wear this on a specific days, like such as Seoll날 in January 1st, or Chuseok and Gwangbokjeol, and something like a Korean day in October. And when I saw this hanbok, and when I was born in Korea and saw this hanbok, it was quite unique and exquisite and elegant by looking at this kind of cloth, because we can't really wear this outside here on the normal days, but it's okay to like wear on traditional days in Korea. So it was quite unique, and for me, I think it was a little bit of challenges to wear this kind of cloth. And we call the house system called a hanok. Hanok. And this is place where guests to sleep and it's simultaneously at the same time. And inside this hanok there are like a heating system called the ondol, and during the winter you get to sleep very well with this ondol system. So basically, there's a agungi, there's a little like a kitchen, and then you just like put the trees on the bottom, and you when you hit it up the light, those like smokes or like those smokes goes into your like house bottom of the house, and then it heats you with a lot of like fires or with like a wood. So basically you can smell a little bit of good smell of wood if you use the good wood basically. And then I divided up as a lifestyle in a daily lifestyle. So to be honest, the really good genre that I set up is like best lifestyle in Korea is basically shopping, sleeping, traveling, touring, working, and eating. Eating is the most important in like South Korea because without eating a lot, they can't really survive well. Many people just basically come into the department store in order to buy some luxurious things, or they're spending monies for their benefits and for their like what should I say, advantages in the future. And many people goes there, but this year like the department stores and many a lot of stores like stocks has been decreased because of the COVID-19. And when you see this daily lifestyle during the morning, some people might eat breakfast or some of them won't, but they're ready for the work, and people choose not to eat or eat. But when they're eating, they might be eating something very simple with like rice with a soup or a toast like an American style. And during the lunch, they work and then they have to like rest for the lunch. Some of them working in like company just usually go out and eat lunch with their crew members, and majority of people use those times to sleep, eat, work in the like remnant time. And for the dinner part, people usually work or get some dinner and leave. It's rare amount of people like spend the whole day of working. So basically, they're working mostly on 24 hours in the company if there's a lot of work. But when you don't have a lot of work or much works, you just have to go out and just come back and stay with the families and enjoy their lifestyle. Thank you.
K-pop, or Korean pop music, was best introduced by Hallyu, which is also known as the Korean wave, in the 1990s. As the music and the style evolved over time, more and more fans from all over the world, including China, Japan, the Americas, etc., have given their attention and interest to the K-pop culture despite the language barriers, which really proves the major influence of both K-pop in both music and fashion.
K-pop is best represented by all the boy and girl bands in Korea. Some of the most prominent among these idol groups, who many of you have probably heard of as well, are BTS and Blackpink, as shown in the photos to the right. BTS is the boy group and Blackpink is the girl band. They are both very well known on the global scale, while BTS had even attended the Grammys twice in 2019 and 20, being the first and only Korean idols to be at the Grammys, whereas Blackpink had performed at Coachella, also making history as the first female Korean artist at Coachella. To be honest, I personally like BTS a lot, not just because of how successful they are, but I love them for their whimsy personalities, how down to earth they are, and the universal messages they convey in their catchy songs despite the language barrier. Each member in these idol groups usually hold one or more positions, whether it's the vocals, the dancer, or the rapper. And these positions are not only determined by what you can do, because every member of the group has to sing and dance at the same time, or rap and dance, but it's whether or not you are the best at that position among others in the group. And another fun fact is J-Hope from BTS loves bulgogi. And if you don't know what that is, you should most certainly go back in the video a bit and watch the part where we talked about Korean food. Now, as you probably know by now, choreography is also an integral part of K-pop. It means that every K-pop idol has to learn how to dance while singing, or it wouldn't be K-pop. And the choreographies are choreographed by the artist agencies most of the time, so they match the songs. And they're not always complicated, but definitely not always easy, especially the formations and the timing. Yet it has influenced tons of young adults to learn to dance and to cover these choreographies. This also ties into the systematic training that every K-pop idol has to go through. It's the process of being a trainee before making a debut, where their agencies would give intense training to make you a better dancer or singer or rapper. It is also possible that you will never debut or even get sent home if you don't meet expectations when being pop quizzed by your agency or when being asked to perform on the spot. Another killer factor in every K-pop performance is the fashion, the outfit, and the look. They're almost never simple, as you can see on the right that the group members always wear something that matches the other members in a way to create a uniformed look. And again, they're all designed by their companies and very rarely their own clothes. Both boys and girls wear makeup in performances as it is part of the K-pop culture, and hair color is also a crucial part that idols consider. Many would dye their hair accordingly to different events and albums. Vibrant hair colors like blue, pink, and blonde are very popular and common among these Korean idols. Fan base. As part of the Asian culture, fans are oftentimes very enthusiastic and fierce about showing their support and love for the K-pop idols they like. Many express this by defending their idols on the internet, by purchasing tons of merchandise and albums. Many fans would even wait at the concert venues a couple of days before the concert, which means they would sleep on the streets so that they might be able to hear the rehearsals and things like that. Speaking of fans and concerts, concert light sticks are just another way for fans to show their love and support for their idols. The different K-pop bands would almost all have their own style of light sticks for their concerts. The photo on the right shows an example of a Blackpink light stick, also called a ping pong, and a BTS light stick would be called an army bomb because their fans are called armies. Lastly, unlike most American artists, many but not all K-pop artists don't have their individual social media accounts like Instagram or Twitter. Instead, they would have an official band account on social media that promotes the whole band, and those are most likely managed by their company staff instead of the artists themselves. But again, BTS and Blackpink do make the exception. Blackpink members do have their individual Instagram accounts, and BTS has a group Twitter account that every member has access to.
Artists are representative of their companies, therefore the artists' agencies are responsible for recruiting people by holding auditions, financing and training trainees, while most of them may be finishing education, and ultimately market and fund these new artists. The profits made from marketing the artists and holding concerts would then be shared between the company and artists accordingly. The distribution is different for every company, as shown in the chart below. Of course, these agencies would also have choreographers and music producers to formulate artists' albums. They would also have stylists for the artist's fashion and everything. Unlike many American artists, many K-pop idols, under agents' policies, don't actually write or produce their own songs, but rather leave it to their producers. An example would be Blackpink, but of course, not all always do this. An example would be BTS, and they helped write and produce some of their songs with the help of other musical producers. Big Hit started as a small company with only one solo artist and BTS representing their company. However, they have recently gained revenues that are even more than the big three, which are SM, YG, and JYP, which again shows how big BTS has gotten worldwide. The big three are called big three because SM, YG, and JYP have produced and gained most of the idols that gained most of the fame throughout the entire K-pop history. Lastly, there are many different award ceremonies in Korea where different artists get nominated for different things, kind of like the Grammys in America, and they win awards and they perform. The famous ones are MMA, which is the Million Music Awards, Golden Disc Awards, and the MAMA, the Mnet Asian Music Awards, and SMA, Seoul Music Awards. Also, the artists hold comeback stages on live music shows where they promote their newest songs after their comeback, and these are promoted on different shows like Mnet, Music Bank, and etc.
Now let's look at some famous attractions that you may want to stop by if you have the chance to visit Korea. The Gyeongbokgung Palace is a really famous attraction in South Korea. It was built in 1395 and it is located in northern Seoul. In Korean, its name translates to Palace Greatly Blessed by Heaven, and it was the main legal residence of the royal family during the Joseon dynasty. Gyeongbokgung Palace was destroyed twice throughout its history. However, all the palace buildings were later restored, including the 7,700 rooms and 500 buildings. Korea's effort in restoration allows visitors today to marvel at its magnificent architecture and historical significance. There are many famous buildings in the palace. Some were used as sleeping quarters or cabinet offices, and others were used for entertainment when important foreign visitors come. Even before entering the palace, tourists enjoy gathering at Gwanggwamun Gate to watch the royal guard changing ceremony. There are many tourists wearing hanbok while visiting Gyeongbokgung. At Gyeongbokgung Palace, there is also a program called Surrogate Tasting Symphony, where you can experience royal food and watch traditional performances.
Next, we're going to introduce is the Lotte World Adventure, and this amusement park was opened in 1989 in Seoul. It is currently the largest indoor amusement park in the world at the moment, and it includes not only indoor and outdoor theme park, it also has hotels, museums, shopping malls, sport facilities, and movie theater. During the year, it hosts a variety of festivals and parades, and one of the most unique features about this amusement park is that on the Magic Island, which is an artificial island in the middle of a lake.
The last aspect that we'll be introducing today is cosmetics.
I'm going to talk about some basic skincare products. These are products that most Koreans use every morning or night for their faces. And these usually change, so you use a different one for morning and you usually add more when you do it at night. And these consist of things like toner, lotion, cream, essence, face mask, and etc. A lot of different things. Facial cleansers are really popular in Korea, and you use them every morning and night usually. And there are many different types, such as, oil cleanser or foam cleanser or gel cleanser. And depending on how strong your makeup is that day, or if you don't have makeup on but you have an oily face, people usually switch between all these three types. Also, people use different types of these skincare products based on their skin condition. So, for example, if you have a really dry skin, you'd use a really thick kind of cream, and you also put lotion on to preserve moisture. However, if you have a really oily skin, you skip lotion and put a really light cream on and only use toner to moisturize your skin since you already have a lot of oil on your face. Okay, so for makeup in Korea, there are many combinations of eyeshadows. I think each company has around up to 30 different colors, and that ranges from like pink to like brown or to orange, and then there's a lot of like glittery ones, and there's a lot of different combinations people use. They usually switch between different brands, or they make their own eyeshadow palette where they put the brands and the colors that they like, and then they use it from that. So the glitter makeup, which is called like pearl makeup in Korea, is really popular among Korean idols because on stage you can't really see their makeup, so they have to do it really strong. And in Korean it's called koral, which is coral pink makeup. It's people usually do it for like spring, or like they also call it like peachy makeup. There's also smoky makeup, but that's not generally popular around everyone for daily use. Umyeong makeup, which is brown makeup, is really the most common, which is using like brown, from like dark brown to light brown shades, and doing makeup is a lot very popular for daily makeup. Also, Koreans usually use foundation, and that ranges from number 21, which is like for lightest skin, and then number 28. And the standard Korean beauty since ancient times is for you to have a skin that has no blemishes, like the outside of a boiled egg. Because in the old days, if you're rich, you wouldn't go outside, you stay in the house. So your skin would be perfect without anything on it, and it'd be white because you weren't getting sunburned. So people tend to, in Korea, like people with paler skin better than people with tan skin. And sometimes people may use foundation that's lighter than their own skin color. And that's why people usually want to keep their skin really pale. Also, concealers are really popular in Korea, which are used to hide blemishes like acne or any like spots on your face. And some even actually use this instead of foundation for their faces. And for lips in Korea, tints are getting really popular among students and teens because it's this liquidy product, and you only use a small amount, and has a really vivid color, and you can get it smudged. So even if it dries off, the color still remains on your lips. But people still also use lipstick, which is less vivid, but it doesn't smudge your lips as much as tints do. To accommodate for students and people usually in the early 20s, and people who just got jobs, so they don't have enough money, or they're in college to buy expensive makeup products, all rose shops are getting really popular in Korea, and which are cosmetic stores that sell makeup cheaper than the expensive like overseas brands, which are targeted for younger people, and these are becoming really popular in Korea. I'll give you some examples. There are shops such as Innisfree, Petipeta, Bia, Etude House, Clio, Luna, Wake and Make, etc. A lot of shops are popping up in Korea. And these shops are getting a lot of fame because they use like made in Korea products, and they use products friendly for your skin and doesn't include harmful ingredients. Makeup products from overseas companies abroad are usually more expensive, like Chanel, NARS, Benefit, Saint Laurent, etc. And these are usually for people who have more money in Korea. That's why all real shops are getting really popular.
That's it for today. Hope you enjoyed our presentation. Next week, we'll be talking about the British culture. See you then.